every human being has socio-political views of their own. Human beings remain more or less the same throughout the years. Sometimes we are hypocritical about expressing those emotions. But when he wrote a letter to Madhuri Dixit and asked me to reach it to her, now I didn't have any access to Madhuri herself, but I remember giving it to Hussain Saab, that because they are not seen in films regularly as part of the citizenry of that particular film, therefore what happens is uh, they don't come within the purview of the mainstream. We are a very multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multicultural, multilingual society. I had written, Shanuka's expression is inscrutable. So Rituparna said, how will you make it inscrutable? I said, I don't know.
Hello everyone, welcome to Filmkopat. Today we have the immense pleasure of having one of India's biggest directors, screenwriters and actors who has made and still continues to make a huge impact in Indian cinema. She has won the National Award 9 times and has been bestowed with the Padma Shri. Welcome Aparna Madam to Filmkopat.
Thank you.
Today we are celebrating 21 years of Paramita Reagdi, or the English title House of Memories, directed by Aparna ma'am, who also plays one of the protagonists in the film. The movie was released in the year 2000 and won 3 national awards, including the National Award for the Best Feature Film in Bengali. It has also won the Jury Award at the 35th International Film Festival of Karlovy Vary. We consider Paramita Reagdi to be one of the modern classics of Indian cinema, and it's an honor for us to discuss this film with its director, Aparna Singh. Thank you, ma'am, once again for coming and joining us for this discussion. I would like to start with the first question. We have seen that at the start of your career, you have made films around the themes of friendship, be it in 36 Shorangi Lane, Poroma, The Japanese Wife, Mr. and Mrs. Iyer, and of course, in Paramita Reagdi, you show friendship as the central theme of the movie of two supposed societal adversaries, if I may say so, as per the society goes. Why has the theme of friendship been so important to you and central to your filmmaking?
Well, I think for me, there is only one relationship, or rather one emotion regarding relationships exists as far as I'm concerned, and that is friendship. Whether it is friendship between spouses, or between lovers, or between siblings, or between parents and children, or friends, the only thing that really is lasting, that lasts in a relationship, is friendship.
So well said, ma'am. Ma'am, what we also see in this film is, a very strong sense of woman emancipation. They kind of support each other, and they're in their own ways. There is this fight against patriarchy, society.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Well, it was not really deliberately done, because I don't like deliberate messages in my films. But I think what happens is that every human being has socio-political views of their own. I don't think there are any human beings who don't have this. So now that, I think, makes its way in the film, somehow comes through in your work. It's not as though it's deliberate. Though I will also say that Poroma and Paramita remain two of my most quote-unquote feminist films. But I think Paramita Reagdi starts where Poroma left off. Because in Poroma, I think Poroma finds that after the primary relationship, that is with her husband, that once that is destroyed, the other relationships that sprung out of the primary relationship, which she used to consider one-to-one relationships, those are also affected. I mean, the mother-in-law who was so fond of her, asks her to go away from her, when she's ill, go away from her bedside. the relationship with even her children seemed to suffer, um, except at the end with her daughter. But in Paromita Ragdin, it sort of starts where Poroma left off. You have this relationship between two complete strangers, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, who didn't know each other before the marriage because it was an arranged match, and who gradually grew close. And that relationship becomes a one-to-one relationship,
Right.
and lasts beyond the marriage.
Absolutely. So, if I may ask you, ma'am, if like you have made Hore Baire Ajke, if you would have suppose thought of making Paromita Ekdin today, would the story be very same, or it would be a more more harrowing experience or something like that, or more hopeful maybe?
No, I can't speak like that. I mean, it was made when it was made. I haven't ever thought of making it again. I mean, I can't think of films like that. I mean, with the exception of Juganto, I can't think of any other film that, that if
Okay. Let me reframe it. So, do you think the way the characters in Paromita Ekdin, the kind of challenges we see them facing, do you think that still exists in our society? It has gone worse or better?
No, I think that it still exists. I mean, not the problems, but the relationships. I've noticed that human beings remain more or less the same throughout the years. Sometimes we are hypocritical about expressing those emotions, but I think the emotions are basic human emotions which remain constant throughout the years, throughout human lifetimes, and so on. In Paromita Ragdin, for instance, the relationship with mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, if today, would probably have been even stronger. I mean, there wouldn't have been any problems in that relationship today. I mean, the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law would probably go for coffee and remain friends.
And what we also see in this film, one side you have these challenges that women face, and how they tackle it in their own way in their life, and you also bring in this point of special children.
Yes.
How they are misunderstood or at times ignored also, as we see.
That has started actually in Poroma.
Correct.
If you remember,
Correct.
Sheila ran a school
Yes.
for special children. And she had a school for special children. One of her friends gave her the painting of one such child. And then it was there in it was not there in Shoti, or Shoti, yes, Shoti also. It was a challenged person because the central character was mute. Then again in Juganto, it's not there, but in Paromita Ragdin, yes. And then it continues, after that, after Paromita Ragdin, again in Mr. and Mrs. Iyer also, you have this challenged boy in a wheelchair, and his reactions to whatever happens in the bus. So that has been a continuing theme. Now, I'd like to say one thing regarding this, that our citizenry is made up of many different kinds of people, of different religions, different abilities, different languages, and so on and so forth. But mostly in a Bengali film, you will see mostly Bengali people from Bengal, or maximum from Bihar or Marwadis or something. But you don't see special children. You don't see, for instance, people from Assam or Nagaland or Mizoram. You don't see so many Muslims. You hardly come across any Muslims. Think about even the masters, their films, you don't see that. But I just feel, and this is my own little contribution, that I feel that since this makes up the citizenry of our country, our films should also be peopled with such persons, because otherwise they become invisible.
Right. So you mean if we think a film to be a microcosm of the society, their representation needs to be there?
Yes, not in a token kind of way, but genuinely, they don't have to be the central character. oh, the central character has a beautiful blind girl. Even I've played that, in the mainstream variety. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something serious, like, for instance, Sai Paranjpe's Sparsh,
Yeah.
where you go into the problem deeply, or even you have characters like that around you, like in that film Four Weddings and a Funeral, where the brother of the bridegroom is mute and he speaks in sign language. So that is there. And I had actually decided that in all my films, I would have at least one such person. But I'm sorry to say that it has not been possible to do that, not all through.
Right. Right. That explains.
And regarding that, like obviously, like when you are acting with adults, it's easy for them to understand the nuances and act as uh, specially abled, if I may say so. But how easy or difficult was it to shoot the special children?
It was actually great fun, because when we went to the Institute of Cerebral Palsy, which had been started by a very wonderful woman called Sudha Kaul, uh, because her own child was a special child, and she used her personal sort of, a tragedy, or if you like, a personal experience to, I wouldn't call it tragedy, but personal experience to, for the good of a large number of people. She started the Institute of Cerebral Palsy, and I used to go there quite often, particularly during Paramita Ragdin. And they were really quite, they were full of fun, these kids. We tend to pity them, etc. And that is not the case, you know. You have this, for instance, there was this girl who was telling me, acting like my assistant, who was telling me, who stood where. And my assistants, when they told me something wrong, she corrected them. She couldn't speak very well, but she showed with her gestures that no, this person has to be there and this person has to be there. So they were almost assisting me. So I really found them great fun, and full of like children. They have all the things that children have. They fight among themselves, they laugh, they play cricket. They play cricket in a very strange way, which has been shown in Paramita, I think, in the documentary that Rajiv Srivastav makes. It's and that child says that we can't play cricket like this. We have to play it like this, because we can't obviously. They've invented their own rules for cricket. So I don't think they are to be pitied. I think, on the contrary, that we should be full of admiration for the way they overcome their difficulties. There was one little boy I remember over there who couldn't use his hands or feet or anything, so he used his mouth, and he had a kind of pen-like thing which he held with his tongue. And then he used to work on the computer like that. And he wrote a letter to Madhuri Dixit and asked me to reach it to her. Now, I didn't have any access to Madhuri herself, but I remember giving it to Hussain Saab. I don't know if it reached Madhuri.
So, ma'am, my child is a special child. She goes to IICP, and they keep on still talking about you. And when I had watched Paramita Ragdin, I mean, whatever you are saying, it meant so much to me, myself, my family, that, I really wanted to thank you for that. This particular thing that you are telling about, their presentation in the way it means, just not as a token, that means so much to all the families and, to them as well. I think they understand.
Thank you. This is one of the great rewards, because after I came out of one of the shows I think that was in Priya, that cinema hall called Priya, I came out, and then they said they were waiting for me, and they said, Didi, nobody talks about our children, you have, and we are so grateful. And I had tears in my eyes, they had tears in their eyes. And, it was because I had observed these children. You see, the thing is that because they are not seen in films regularly as part of the citizenry of that particular film, therefore what happens is they aren't, they don't come within the purview of the mainstream. You know, they must be brought in so that they constitute part of the mainstream, because the mainstream has a lot of differences. I mean, they're people of different religions, they're people of different languages, they're people of different um, colors, different all kinds of facial features of certain kinds. There's so many kinds of people, and we are a very multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multicultural, multilingual society. So why can't we also, extend that to the cases of specially able children?
Let us now come to the casting part. I kind of feel, we actually, all of us feel that Paramita Acting had a very unique casting. First of all, because of the casting of Rituparna Sengupta. Before that, there was a Dohon, but that might be the only one film where she acted out of mainstream. Other than that, she was in a very mainstream kind of a setup and all. So was it Dohon that impressed you so much that you cast her for quite a difficult role?
I was very close to Rituparna, and I knew all his films inside out from the script stage. I really liked Rituparna and Dohon, and I thought that she would be good in this film, and so that's why I cast her. And she really cooperated a lot, because we had acting workshops which lasted for a month or over a month. And Rituparna used to always attend these workshops, and we had a lot of fun together, all of us. Then the cast, I used to often cook, and they would look forward to those meals. And we the whole day from morning till evening, we would over a month we did this. And I think Rituparna, this was one of Rituparna's very important performances.
But coming back to this, one of the most interesting casting choices, which ended up with the actress being given the Best Supporting Role award in the National Awards, Sohini Sengupta. So what about that? She never worked in cinema before, and she was a theatre, obviously very well known in the theatre circle of Nandikar. What was your thought process to cast her?
Somebody told me about her, somebody in the office. I used to be the editor of Shananda at that time. And somebody at office told me about her, and I sent word to her to come and see me. And she came and saw me at the office, and I thought she was perfect for Cuckoo. So I cast her.
It was amazing.
And she also attended all the workshops and all that. And she learned to speak in that slightly North Calcutta accent, not pronouncing chaw as chaw. That's a typical North Calcutta way of speaking, and law as no, like instead of debu, we say in North Calcutta you would say nebu. So she picked all that up very fast.
Yeah, one of the scenes that still haunts me is that when Rajatavo is coming for his, I think, Pulshajja night, and he sees his sister. She's all dressed up, and he's just stunned looking at her. And then she talks about her. She wants to get married, and that chain of thought which gets through. Suddenly there is a change of mood. The scene becomes so somber. So it was something really extraordinary.
And Rajatavo's character Biru, who is otherwise very harsh and so crass, is very tender with his sister.
Yes.
There's another scene which I like particularly. That is when Monima Bishash, the Soumitra Chatterjee character, she lets him in the afternoon, and she puts on the radio for him. So she's very hospitable. She asks him if he wants to have muri. And she's more hospitable and more courteous and more graceful in a sense than anybody else in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Except Paramita herself, who is very, very graceful. But all the others in the family are in Cuckoo's family. None of them are really much bothered. But Cuckoo herself is very sort of very good-tempered, very genial, very courteous, all of that.
Yeah, I mean that scene is, possibly one of our most favorite scenes from the movie, because the other thing, very subtle things you have put is she opens the door when Soumitra Chatterjee comes in. She first, instantly she says, "Ma ghumocche."
Huh.
Like she knows why this person has come, why this person visits my home. So,
Yeah, she knows. And then she says, "Shabari to maake jora iche kare."
And I mean, Soumitra Chatterjee, we talk about so many performances of his which are more celebrated. That one scene, that discomfort of his, amazing. I mean, the way he expresses himself in that scene.
I love that too. And then she puts on the radio and then she keeps asking that, am I the only one with the brain disease?
Yeah.
Am I the only one who's mad? And you hear the news of the bombings in Bombay and all that, and so many people dying, and you wonder who's mad actually.
Right.
So
I think you made the statement like when the doctors was asked that, okay, will he be able to lead a normal life by Rituparna Sengupta's character? And he was like, so who will define the parameters of normal? What is normal? From which side of the? So yeah, in some way.
One of the doctors at the institute says that. How do you differentiate between normal and these are the tags that we put? How can you differentiate between normal and abnormal?
And also, you just mentioned about Rajatama's character. That is also a very subtle way of. We find him very harsh, but he is soft with his sister. Also,
Yes.
he is not a typical, villainish character. He actually calls Paramita back when his, mother is ailing. He does not cry for the father, but when his mother dies, he's crying like more than anyone else. So, those subtle touches were, those things which make this film so special.
Yes, that I suppose is there. Not everything is done consciously, Not everything is done consciously. A lot of the things that I write really come up from the subconscious level.
Right.
Like when we say like Harmangshir Manush, when we say that in Bengali, like there is all the characters in the movie have their own individuality and none of them is God. Like I have seen, when we're talking about that particular scene of Soumitra and Cuckoo, in any other film, Soumitra would become I would feel that character would give a sermon, something that he would try to do something more, but you establish the cowardness of the character so well that it becomes very human, very understandable the way it happens, actually.
Yeah, and there is this cowardness of the characters, and he is also a poet. So it's this juxtaposition of human characteristics that's so well brought up in this film. So say Sohini, then Rajatabo, even Rajesh Sharma, he was actually into theatre more at that time, I think. So you depended so much on people with the theatre background. So was that a conscious choice, or they all fitted those roles?
No, you just don't want to keep repeating the faces, because every mainstream actor, no matter how good he or she may be, of course you have to cast mainstream actors also, because many of them are very good and maybe they fit the role. Like Chobi Bishash was cast by, say, Mr. Ray, but he also used a lot of theatre and complete newcomers, theatre people, complete newcomers, and so on. Like he used Chuni Baladevi, he used Utpal Datto, and he used complete newcomers also. But the point is that all mainstream actors, whether they like it or not, and no matter how good they are, they carry a baggage of associations because the audience has seen them in so many films and they have been so good in those roles that those roles stamp themselves on the character. Like a very good example is Karuna Banerjee, who's a brilliant actress,
Right.
but somehow we always think of her as Sarbojoya.
Right.
It's very
Right,
difficult. think of her as anything else. Maybe if
Right.
she did a lot of films, then, but she didn't. She was a theatre actress. I think she was with the IPTA.
Even I remember in Mrinal Sen's interview, suddenly it breaks the fourth wall and focuses on her and tells that those scenes from Pathir Pachali are shown, establishing that that kind of
Which film?
in interview.
Interview.
Yeah, suddenly she is shown as Sarvojaya those scenes and told she's an actress and she's like that role is what represents her now in life. It was kind of like that way.
Yeah, well, I don't remember. I mean, I've seen interview a long time back. I don't really remember this scene, but yes, could well be.
And talking about scenes and coming back to Paramita Rakdin, I think that one scene we will definitely have to talk about is when Paramita makes this makeshift toilet in the room, and he takes you, and there is this look on your face where you kind of caress her. That look kind of sums up the film. I mean, I do not know how did you bring that look, but that look kind of summed up the whole film for us.
Well, that look is very easy. I mean, it's in the sense that it was a look which was out of gratitude, affection, and all of those things, that you are the only one who understands me. That look was there. By this time, I think she's forgiven Paramita for having left the house and married Rajiv Srivastav and so on and so forth, because the relationship between them was so strong that even Paramita's going away, marrying somebody else and divorcing her son, all that couldn't come in the way. She, in fact, says once that karo ja ichhe karo, do whatever you like, but don't leave this house. Because she says that you all have your work and everything else. I don't have anything in my life except this. And she refers to Kuku as Pagol Mein, this mad child of mine, mad daughter. But Kuku is not at all mad. She has schizophrenia, but she's not mad, I don't know. I don't like the word mad, actually.
Yeah, there's also this beautiful scene where she herself brings the medicines to her mother and tells, you give it to me, I will have it. Such a beautiful scene again.
Yeah,
which means, that these people think they have their own senses and their own way of expression. They remember things in their own way. That was so well established in the film that it's such a special film.
Yeah. Yes, and another scene which I like personally is the scene where I get the news of my husband's death. I'm sucking on a fish bone.
Yeah. You continue to do that.
I continue to do that, yes. And Rituparno I had written that Shaunoka's expression is inscrutable. So Rituparno said, how will you make it inscrutable? I said, I don't know. Don't ask me now. But when I was doing it, then after that, when Ritu saw the film, he said, it actually was inscrutable. Parumitar, Shaunokar, Obhibyakti pora jay na. Pora jay na, how will you do pora jay na? Pora jay na means you can't read her face, you can't read her expression. So, but then he said, how did you do that? I said, I don't know. I just made my face blank.
Yes, it was truly amazing, actually, that particular scene. And
I think our acting coach, Shohag Sen, she asked me to continue to suck on that bone. She says, suck on it once more. So during the shot, and I continued. So I think
these are the intricacies, I think, in the film, which make sure that we also know what the characters are doing when they are not in frame. I mean, your love for fish, or what might be the relationship with the husband, with that one scene where he's watching TV and you are going for a bath. They kind of make sure the characters are kind of coming out in flesh and blood, and we know what we are not shown. That's the power of the screenplay.
That how he perhaps forces himself on his wife, and the wife deliberately takes long to come to bed with the husband as asleep in order to avoid any kind of physical relationship with him. That is, I think, that is unsaid, but I think it's very clear.
Yeah,
comes through.
I think, ma'am, we are towards the end of this discussion, and we are so much thankful to you that you talked to us for such a long time with such depth about your movies and your experiences. We are really grateful to you.
I can't believe that we've 21 years have gone by since we made Paramita Acting, because we made it in a very small budget, 30 lakhs. It was very important for me to prove. I wouldn't have acted as Shonuka, by the way. That was at the producer's insistence. He said, otherwise the deal is off. So I had to act as Shonuka. It's very difficult to act and direct at the same time.
But we are thankful to him, whoever insisted on casting you. Because, you have done a phenomenal job, as I was telling in that scene or, throughout. I think that film needed you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.